In this video, we're covering how to make killer YouTube ads to get real estate clients in 2025. So if you want to generate qualified leads and some of the best clients you will ever get and do so via YouTube ads, then this is an absolutely perfect watch for you. I've used this exact framework to take agents from 0 to 6 figures in commissions in 90 days. So let's get straight into it. So if you watched my channel before, you've definitely heard this. If you've watched other channels before, you've probably heard this. And the fact is, the bottom line is that everything starts with the creative. You could have an absolutely perfect automated system funneling through great follow-up sequences, natural messaging, and you can get that all down, but none of it is gonna be relevant if your ad creative isn't optimized. Your ads are gonna determine the quality of leads that are coming and you're attracting into your pipeline, and then how much you're actually getting or how much you're actually paying for them, right? So if you want cheaper leads and appointments, you want better clients that are actually easier to work with, and you want scalability within your business, this is gonna be the perfect video for you. So the number one thing and factor that's involved in creating a good ad is gonna come down to actually the messaging of the offer. How you're gonna deliver it is also just as important, the editing, all that kind of stuff. But what's in your actual script is the foundation. It's who you're reaching out to, it's who you're calling out, it's who your offer is relevant towards and your solutions, etc. So the goal of your creative is to initially interrupt the viewer as they're browsing, consuming content, doing whatever they're doing day to day, and then essentially providing the right message that's gonna get the prospect to say 3 different things. First, yes, I have this problem and this is actually for me. Yes, I want the problem that's being addressed solved, and most importantly, I think that you as the realtor can help me, and I'd like to learn more about how you can specifically help me. And knowing these fundamental principles is going to make crafting ads so much easier. You could probably, even with this information, just craft ads yourself just with these 3 pieces of information. But if you're not too sure on what the next steps are, the first thing you're going to want to do is start with research. So you're gonna need to focus on the problems and the current state of your ideal prospect. So if let's say you work with first-time home buyers, you're going to need to list out everything that the first-time home buyers are struggling with, list out all the problems and the current solutions they're using, and then list out the things that frustrate them. And all of the messaging should be based on these specific things in your research, all right? And this is all the beginning of a good sales argument, right? What's important to understand is you're not selling, you're helping. And most realtors that know what they're doing understand this, but the problem with most realtors is that when they create video ads, they come across as salesy, they come across as inexperienced, and you want to just be having a conversation with them, right? Your delivery and tone matters. And obviously, like I was saying, the messaging matters, but your delivery matters just as much. But shifting back to the messaging, most realtors, what they're really good at is being able to have conversations in person, etc. But then when it comes down to actually creating ads, they come across as salesy, inexperienced, and a little bit robotic. And so what you can do in the best way that I found to actually improve your skills is just looking at winning ads. And one of the best ways that you can find winning ads is just looking for winners in your local markets, other local markets, niches, and platforms. So the key thing you want to look for if you're going to be filtering them is look for ads that are 3 months or longer that have been running and existing, because this means that the ad spend is actually proven to work. And you want to use platforms and search for things on like the Facebook ads library, Google Ads Transparency, and a website called Vidteo, which is free. You can look up YouTube ads on here. And when you're analyzing these, watch the tonality, watch the delivery. But when it comes down to the messaging, what you want to analyze and interpret is the hook, the offer and value proposition, so what they're actually selling, the body structure, so how they're organizing their pain points, how they're offering the solutions, etc. And look at the editing skills as well. See what kind of cuts they're using, if it's more simple, more complex, all that kind of stuff. And this leads me to my point that most realtors believe, they're not going to stand out this way. And the point isn't to like copy them exactly, but a general rule of thumb that Picasso says is good artists copy, but great artists steal. You can literally take the exact frameworks they're using, implement it in your own unique way, and you're gonna be set and golden. So the first part of the ad, as we mentioned before, is the hook. And this is gonna account for 80% of the ad's success. If you can't interrupt somebody's day, they're not going to watch the ad, and they're not going to follow through, and none of it's good. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your research and you're going to brainstorm 3 to 5 hooks. Now, what I've used for my clients is a couple of different winning formats. Number one is an ask a question. So are you selling a home anywhere in or around X area? Or you can call out your ideal client and customer. If you're anywhere in or if you're a homeowner anywhere in or around X area, this message is specifically for you. You can also qualify and disqualify them and do something like act out the problem or mistake your clients and prospects make. That could be, for an example, like the stress of not being able to find buyers and not being able to sell your home quickly, for example. Okay? Now, the rest of the ad, after the hook, all of it comes down to increasing the perceived likelihood of achievement, reducing the time delay in which it takes to achieve whatever you're offering in that perceived likelihood of achievement, and reducing the effort and sacrifice it takes to actually achieve what you're offering. So this is also, in simpler terms, known as just convincing them that your method or strategy or lead magnet, whatever you're providing, actually works. It will work within a timely and desirable manner, and it's going to be relatively easy, or at least will make something easier for them to do in their process of, let's say, selling, buying a home. So for an example, this is my client, Andrea, right here. What we did is we did a specific call out for the hook. If you're thinking about selling a house anywhere in or around Savannah, this message is specifically for you. What we offered is a free custom home evaluation to find out what your home is realistically worth within the shortest amount of time. Okay, so it's basically almost an instant free custom home evaluation, and basically what that's doing is just building that trust at scale, and it's allowing her to show off her expertise, get on a phone, a meeting, etc., and the rest is history. And at the end of it, the call to action on the actual ad is to click the blue button on the screen, sign up, and find out how much money you can get for your home now, okay? So anyone that's looking to find out how much their home is realistically worth in a market that's unpredictable, they can click the blue button, just input a simple questionnaire, and essentially Andrew's gonna reach out to them as soon as possible, and everything with the speed to lead is dialed, locked in, and they're gonna be working with each other as soon as possible. So the next thing that's important to understand is something called creative fatigue. So you need to understand the timelines in which ads run and the processes behind them. And what's relevant to this right now is, here's what happens. Month 1 to 2, ads are gonna perform really good and you're gonna have low cost per leads. But then by month 3 to 4, the performance usually, at least based on my statistics, starts declining and the cost per lead starts to increase. And then by month 5 or like 6, for example, ads then become unprofitable because the audience gets tired of seeing it. When you're posting ads, here's how it works. Google's gonna find your ideal client as soon as possible. Now, it's obviously gonna take a couple of weeks for it to optimize, but once it does, it's gonna show your videos because of the AI's capabilities of having these 30,000 data points on any individual in the US. And it's gonna be the warmest the audience has ever been between months 1 through 4. And then it starts pushing it out to colder and colder audiences. So what you need to understand is, by the way, the timeline isn't always the same on this, but ads that are hot always are gonna inevitably fatigue over time. So this is why it's crucial to have variations within the ad. So how you can create them is basically all you need to do is find a winning ad, whichever one that has performed the best. That's why you start with variations when posting ads. And then what you're gonna wanna do is basically just find the winning ad, the one that has performed the best with the lowest cost per lead, the highest conversion rate, whatever metric is desirable, whatever KPI, key performance indicator, is showing you that the ad is actually performing well. You'll then take that ad and you'll make variations of it. So I've shown this in other videos, but one way you can make a variation is saying the same thing in a different setting. So you can, instead of, let's say you shot your video of the winning ad inside, use the exact same script, exact same outfit, but just go outside. You can go to a new location, and these are all isolated variables. So assuming everything else in the video is the same, the only thing that would change, for example, is outside instead of inside. You'd go to a new location, new studio, different format, whatever, but everything else remains the same. Same thing can apply to this, but instead you're gonna say the same thing, but just with a different actor. So a business partner, if you were a male, you can switch to female. You can hire an actor, a professional, if you're not comfortable or satisfied with your own results. Another thing you can do is say the same thing with different editing, use faster pacing and cuts compared to like a slower video. You can do a raw or uncut version of the winning ad. Let's say it was heavily edited, or vice versa. You can edit now something that was a raw and uncut winning ad. And basically the last thing you can do is basically just say the same thing in a different way. So just use a new hook, isolate that, try out some different bodies, but basically say the exact same messaging. You want to keep the offer and value proposition the same and just isolate different variables. And with that, you can create all different variations with a winning ad that will keep the campaign running and profitable forever. So now that you know how to make banger YouTube ads, you still need to know how to set up lead magnets and offers, budgets and media buying, and the rest of the funnel as a whole. I go over all of that in this video right here. That's all I've got, and I'll see you in the next one.